Everyone's ready. It looks like everyone's on roll 20. Let's go ahead and jump into this shit, shall we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Recording is up.
All right. So, when last we left off, oh so long ago, our party, the Color Coalition, had finally managed to confront this final fight in an attempt to free the city of Western from an army of darkness, lorded over by the seemingly indomitable Meraxis Vesh, harbinger of the Lady of Darkness, Vesh herself.
AKA as the Pichurria.
Yes.
Sorry, I hate him.
That's fair. That's fair. After amassing some allies, including the army of the Republic of Tal'Dorei, behind you, you marched on the city and then opted to take a more direct approach to this fight, letting the army do its work in the city of Western and go after the portals that had seemingly sprouted and appeared to be having some kind of effect on the magic in the area, as well as acting as gateways for this dark power and the undead army. Meanwhile, you and several of your allies instead opted to head straight for Gat Shadow, because you had to, outside of the mountain itself, making your way deep into the chamber to the previously claimed Temple of Iyun that the Slayer's Take had built there, which had been, in that time, taken over by Meraxis and converted into a sort of a makeshift defilement of the temple as a ship and a place of power for Vesh, including this massive purple and black arched gateway that seemed to act as kind of a conduit for the power and radiated out energy. You proceeded to get into the fight with Meraxis, including his it looked like, vampiric female known as Lily, where the fight started going. You were making quite a bit of progress and managed to damage both of them quite a bit before Lily called the fight, but so did one of your allies after a slightly misplaced moonbeam, leading to the subsequent departure of Will Deluxum, your mercenary.
Yeah.
But in a final stroke of power, break down the once Meraxis Vesh, who with his dying breath said that the war was not over, that there were more out there who had served this same purpose, that seemed to be hell-bent on just destroying the barrier between the realms of Vesh and in the prime material plane. With his dying breath, he finally died, succumbing to his wounds, and as he did, the portal at the top of this ziggurat began to expand and radiate out with more energy, becoming slightly unstable in the wake of his downfall, and that's where we're immediately going to pick up. The four of you and your dragon companion steps of the ziggurat, watching as this portal up at the top is beginning to fluctuate with energy tendrils lashing out, striking into different parts of the cavern, as whatever ritual that Meraxis had been performing seems to have been, as he put it, he said he completed the ritual. This portal begins to lose control, or possibly, you're not entirely sure what's happening here.
I feel like, are we gonna hit it or run?
I think that's hitting it. If he's got anything.
Oh, well.
Investigation check.
Because I can't hit that thing at all, so.
I hate you. First roll of the night, of course. So
The rest of the escape, though, is going to be bad for me.
Okay, so going through his body, trying to loot what you possibly can, realizing this is probably an urgent situation where you don't want to take too much time, you quickly gather what he has on him as far as like belt pouches and things like that. I will give you the list later when you have more time to go over it, but you do manage to, in addition to his pack, which, like I said, I'll give it to you later, you do also manage to find a very well, despite the damage and the blood that's on it, a very well-made cloak with some kind of magical energy. You have a severely dented set of plate armor.
Yeah, dented by me.
Very dented by you. And you get the sense, Forno, that there's probably something to this as well, but you might have to identify it later. As well as the flaming greatsword that he had as well.
I'm the only one who can use a greatsword now in the party.
I'm like, I say we
Otherwise,
run,
Brandon would be like,
guys.
Dibs! Okay, I'm gonna check on, gonna like try and see from my limited Arcana knowledge to see if it's the better option to stay or run. Like stay and destroy it. Run. Like am I in time to disarm the bomb, or this is just gonna go off no matter what?
For this, it won't be an Arcana. God damn it! I was going to say it wasn't going to be an Arcana check. It was going to be a religion check.
Oh.
But the roll would still stand. It would just have a different bonus on it. So I'm going to allow it. You get the sense that whatever ritual this
is,
is,
the same bonus. It's
there you go. Yeah, religion is intelligence. Okay, never mind. You experience dealing with any kind of arcane or like interplanar gateways, things like that. That's not your forte. It's never been your forte. But you've been doing a little bit of studying, and you've been trying to talk with Dante every once in a while about things like this, and you've been kind of just and some of the other mages that were with the army about portals like this, as well as possibilities of this ritual that you knew that he was going to be performing and had kind of performed already with the pieces of the gateway, and you were trying to piece this out, and you kind of figured out enough that whatever this is whatever's happening with this portal, it is dangerous, yeah, but it's going to be infinitely more dangerous if you leave the portal. Especially since Maraxis said that the ritual was already basically complete, and there wasn't much chance of stopping it. Like, if this is left to continue in some way, then it's probably going to spell very nasty downfall for many people in Tal'Dorei.
Bless you, sweetie.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay. Guys, need to stop it. Now.
Oh, can you hit?
Hell yeah.
Do it.
Can
You know, I
it
already,
be
like,
heated with magic?
Preparing to.
Exactly.
Forno, I was going to say, you get a little bit closer and you notice that the gateway itself isn't like a solid gateway like you were expecting. The gateway itself is actually just made of energy. Like, it's just a random ass portal that's there.
I think that, well, we should hit it at the same time, all of us.
Okay.
Go ahead, you guys. I can't really hit it with anything.
I have. Okay. Radiant energy, I think that hit it like the most, right? So I should prepare like a guiding bolt.
I can. Can Ari use my mace with the electricity?
I don't think Ari can really use maces.
Really? She's a ranger.
And you
Yeah.
should also have to attune to it. That would take too long.
Oh, that's true.
Attunement.
The staff of striking. Sorry, it's not a mace.
No, I
But
mean,
yeah,
she's
will
good with
take-
martial and simple weapons, so I guess so.
Isn't the staff attunement as well?
Probably. Alright, he's like, you guys just hit it. I'm gonna get ready to run.
But didn't we make like a special arrow that could hit?
Yeah, I think
That was
it
like
gave me,
blunted.
+1 magic damage for my arrows. So that's not going to do much though.
I think that's as
Yeah.
long as it's magic.
I mean, maybe. I can try.
Right. The spiritual weapon was still up, right?
No, the spiritual weapon's gone by now. It only has a duration of like a minute.
Okay. Then come back, baby.
I'm not going to put a token out there. We'll say for the sake of it, it's out there.
It's out, and let's start hitting. Okay. 1.
Alright, I'll get a force arrow ready.
3.
Okay. You call down the radiant energy that you're so used to calling upon the might of the Allhammer, and you watch as the bolt simply passes through the gateway. Doesn't seem to have
Okay,
affected it.
that was radiant.
It would have been, but it doesn't seem like this is the approach. And Forno, you would know from your religion check that portals like this knocking them down through physical or magical means is a lot harder than trying to find a different, more ritualistic.
Oh, ritual.
And this is me
Like
being-
a dispel magic.
This is me trying to give you a DM moment of saying this is going to be a skill challenge, not hit it with stuff.
Okay.
So
For the sake of this, Albright character, this is going to be a skill challenge. Each of you, or more than once possibly, but each of you will have to find some way, using some kind of ability that you have or some of trying to affect this portal in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
Go ahead. Yep. Go ahead and take some time to think about what you're going to possibly offer up to the skill challenge. You got.
Oh God.
Mm,
I have nothing.
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to make
I'm
you do
like,
stuff
oh,
now.
fuck.
I'm going full Mercer here.
Let's see,
Trying
let's
to
see.
channel my divinity. Shaping a lock of energy. Some sort of chain. I'm gonna make like a spiritual chain with my divine.
What are you chaining exactly? Are you trying to just chain around the portal?
Yeah.
Go ahead. A good check for this would be, go ahead and just roll a general wisdom check.
Wisdom check.
14. You call upon the Allhammer. You're not entirely sure how quite to bind this kind of, portal and that radiating out of this. But you call upon the Allhammer, imploring him to assist you in trying to keep this portal bound up in some way. And you all watch as Ziggurat itself, red hot, coil out and form chain links around the portal itself. It doesn't cover it completely. It does not cover it completely. It does start to severely limit the tendrils of power that have been lashing out and striking different parts of the cavern and knocking rocks loose.
That's what I was thinking about.
But this is a success.
Good job, Forno. Fuck.
Need help.
Ari's just kind of gonna move right there. She's like, fuck, I don't know what to do. She's like, Evie, you got anything over there, Lot?
I can try to use my I don't know, my moonbeam again. I have one last to use.
You get the sense, Lod, that more spells and things like that won't affect it in some way.
Yeah. What
This is more of a player challenge, less than a combat challenge.
I don't know if I can maybe use part of what my racial traits give me.
I think in terms of just your traits and things like that, you can think more in RP circumstances. This was once a place of nature. You could maybe do something involving that. Call upon trying to restore and repair whatever this tear and things were.
Well, I can always try to communicate with the nature of that place to make what I am visualizing here. It's that not the force is not concentrated just in that place, but it's all along the place we are.
Hmm.
So I don't know, I can call upon the nature and try to pray to Selene, uh, uh, to see if maybe she can guide us a little bit more.
Guide you in what way? I need you to be specific with this. Picking, but I need you to be specific.
It's just that I am thinking that we might hit some specific points in the place, like when you have a brick in a wall that you have to press or you have to pull to see if maybe it can be losing power like that. I don't know, like a switch.
Okay, you're wanting to be shown an easy way to it.
Yeah.
Okay. This is kind of a gray area because I can't just give you that. This is the whole point of this is to be creative. I want to see you guys come up with something that you think you'd be able to contribute to closing down this portal, rather than me.
Yeah, no.
An exit.
I understand. Let me think a little bit more then.
Owen, you got anything?
I honestly can't think of anything that I would be able to use to help this out.
I guess Ariel out is just gonna be like, if any god wants to make themselves known to me, now's the time to do it. And she's just kind of like praying to whatever she can, I guess. I don't know what that would be, but
Go ahead and roll a religion check.
Alright.
That's a first.
Yeah. Well, the character is to roll one. I wasn't sure this was going to be the one.
Oh!
There's probably a couple different deities that would probably be willing to intervene here. However, first and foremost, because you were there when it was explained to you, this is a temple of Ioun.
Yeah, no, it would probably be Ioun.
If anyone's going to be pissed, and you know from history and things like that, that your family seems to have some kind of Ioun. So,
yeah.
If anyone's going to be pissed off about this place being defiled by Vesh.
This is a first for Ari.
It is. So
What's
yeah,
she doing?
it would be Ioun. I mean, she wouldn't say it out loud, but
In her head,
yeah.
I'm making you guys do this. This is the whole point of it.
Yeah, in her head she's like, Ioun, if you want to show me that you're not just absent, then you probably should help. In her head.
Roll a general wisdom check.
What?
$13. All right. You watch as some of the energy, it's been kind of fluctuating in color. Mostly a very inky kind of color. Very much in line with what you guys have come to associate as this corruption and this power of Vesh. Something dark, mysterious, foreboding. Ari, as you're making this prayer, sitting there with far away from you, but not voicing any of this out loud, but silently praying to Ioun and hoping that whatever bond you might possibly is enough to grant you some kind of power. You watch as some of the energy, specifically the beams of energy from the corners of the ziggurat, because the pieces of the marks of Vesh that you had recently are acting kind of as tent poles to this gateway. Mm-hmm. And you watch as the energy from those marks, black and flickering purple color, to a more steady, vibrant, royal purple, and eventually a lighter, more purple, but a lighter shade, more like a lilac than anything.
Mm-hmm.
The barriers of energy that had previously surrounded the marks of Vesh go away. And they seem to be possibly vulnerable to kind of physical ranged attack now.
Someone hit it with a hammer.
I will hit it with my sword. Or my rapier.
It's
Do that.
like it's 20 feet in the air.
Fuck.
Like these marks are floating in the air. I
Okay.
thought I had said. Yeah, they're floating in the air above each corner.
Well, that's what I got. I don't know what happened.
Believes Felon and Laud.
Could I shoot it with my magical arrow?
Right.
I have an idea too. I don't know how will this work, but using my slit storm can help me to froze water that I create.
What do you mean?
Like I can as a natural spell from my racial traits. Can I use the knowledge I have to create a slit storm using, of course, ice? Can I froze the water that I create with my creating water spell?
I mean, in theory, yeah. I'm wondering why.
I'm thinking in like flood. Do you say flood?
Create a flood?
Yeah, create a flood.
Mm.
But it,
No. It's not.
Well, okay.
It's not a one.
Okay.
It's not a big one. It's just like in the trying to find the origin of the light to see if I can froze it, like from the bottom of it, freeze it. Sorry, it's
all right.
too crazy.
Trying to freeze the origin of the light.
Yeah,
What do you
like
mean?
as far as I understand, this. Can you see what I am pointing out?
Those are the beams of light. Those are the beams of energy and power that are radiating from the marks in the corners of the ziggurat that I was just describing.
And what is this? This.
In the middle, that's the gateway itself. Which, like I said, it's not a physical gateway. It's just a gate. It's basically a doorway made of energy.
So I cannot like froze the floor of it.
There's not really a floor to it. It's just a portal.
Think 3D, sweetie.
I should mention, yeah, those pink lines I have on the map, those are suspended in the air, like above it. Like it's very much like a circus big top tent. These.
This is like Mumra's temple
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah, the marks of Vesh are in each of the corners of the ziggurat that you're seeing, and they're about 20, 25 feet up in the air, just kind of floating there, and they were previously surrounded by energy, all lancing up the ziggurat to a single point up at the top where the gateway was.
Then, and there are like grass in the floor.
Around the ziggurat, yeah.
Well, okay. Let me try to understand because I don't know how to make myself clear in English. I'm gonna consult
get
it with Guille.
I can interpret for you.
Ok, amor, lo que voy a intentar hacer es, o lo que no he entendido muy bien, es en las esquinas de la X está entrando luz. Que eso es lo que crea el haz de luz de la mitad, ¿sí?
Algo así, sí, hay como unos parales que proyectan rayos hacia el portal, pero el portal como tal no está físico.
Ok, entonces lo que voy a intentar
Entonces,
es
mira la foto que puse.
esas torres, eso es de donde proviene la luz, hacerles un entangle para que crearles sombra y que no creen más luz.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, that was to like make all the nature grow beneath the pillars and start to entangle them from beneath. I know that it's like 20 feet, but like the vines can just like rise in
Around the marks of Vesh.
yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lod. Go ahead and roll.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm very
That makes a
challenged
lot
in
more
English.
sense. That makes a lot more sense than whatever was happening there with the sleet storm. Like, wait a minute.
Yeah, see, sorry. It's just that I didn't understand very well the situation
Yeah.
where we
No
were.
problem. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
But
a
it
bit of
doesn't-
it got lost because of the like how long it had been since the last session. Because I didn't give a full description this time around again. For this, go ahead and make a general wisdom check. It's gonna be
Okay.
another one.
Okay. Vamos, dadito. No me decepciones.
Yeah.
Okay. 21.
As Laud begins almost a bit of a ritualistic chant, calling upon the forces of nature that had previously inhabited Gat Shadow, which history in Gat Shadow, all the terrible and twisted nature of the beings that tended to have lived in here and made this area its home, and the corruption that had kind of seeped into the earth, there is still very much vibrant nature hidden beneath it. And she manages to tap into that vibrant nature, and you watch as it starts as just sprouts and little sprigs of grass, and eventually branching up into saplings, begin to rise up from around the corners of the ziggurat themselves, slowly growing and becoming taller and thicker as they keep going, eventually around the pieces of the marks of Vesh, and slowly start squeezing them. A bit of a cracking noise.
Whoop whoop.
And you are able to hear one is now shattered. One is now shattered. One is now shattered, but now I need Forno and Laud to roll a dexterity saving throw, as the fourth one is, you start hearing the cracking, and you watch as a giant purple clawed arm, about the size of both of you combined, reaches out from the gateway and is slamming down.
Oh shit.
Boom.
Wow.
Managing to jump down the ziggurat, rolling a bit over a couple of the steps, but avoiding the massive clawed hand as it slams down into the ziggurat, crunching pieces of the stone and the bone and the rock, it partially into the gateway as you hear this dark rumble, which in your head doesn't sound that feminine, but a part of it does. There's something graceful and powerful to this. Not contain me. You cannot stop. And you hear the fourth one crack.
Oh my god.
As the tendrils of energy continue to lash out, break around the portal itself. The purple arm that had been had been just stuck inside of this realm and appeared to try and drag you into wherever it was, begins to fade away into dust. Again, zapping different parts of the corners. You start kind of ducking out of the way to avoid a few of them. And then you watch from the very tip of the top of the cavern, avoiding all of the tendrils of energy, and as this radiant light gets closer and closer and bigger, and by the time it reaches the top of the ziggurat of this portal, landing on, in fact, on top of what remains of this clawed arm, not quite a physical representation of it, but more of a radiant representation of mystic, sphinx-like. This majestic being just radiating light and energy, and in fact, those of you that are close enough to it, Laud and Forno, you can feel the heat coming off of this being itself. It's pretty warm, but it also just kind of fills you with a really good feeling.
Okay.
You know, you're in a really good mood. You've been through all this pain and suffering and trying to fight all of this, but this being just makes you feel better about everything. Eventually, this Sphinx rises and says, "Shh, In the name of Ioun, I, Osisa, banish you from this realm! Slamming her own paws down into the last of this clawed purple form. It shatters. A brilliant flash of light. Purple, black, white, gray. Different colors. A rainbow of different colors. Blinding you from this. You all turn away. Minute to get your eyesight back as just the sheer magnitude of this spectacle of light almost fried your eyeballs.
Holy moly.
Your sight comes back. The portal is gone. Amongst the rubble and ruin of this ziggurat of Ioun, Radiant Sphinx.
Shit.
She looks
She's
down
just
at you.
looking.
Yeah, she looks down at you, just goes, "This was not how you were meant to meet me, but it is as good as we can have. I am Osisa of the Slayer's Take."
Oh, nice to meet you, she said.
Hi.
Hi. Sorry, the circumstances.
My
Who is
child.
this again? That's what my character would say because he doesn't know.
For any of that. You're really fucking confused at this point, Felon. You watched
Oh,
all
yeah,
this
oh, yeah.
weird, like, praying and mystical shit. Some stuff blew up, trees grew out of the random ground, and then suddenly this fucking clawed hand tried to kill him. And then this just sphinx made of light and energy showed up and destroyed everything. Now it's just there, and talking about how it's the patron of the Slayer's Take. So you're very confused by all of this.
Yeah, I'm looking at Ari like, what the fuck is going on? Should I kill this dude or what?
No, don't
Okay.
do that.
Couldn't kill me if you tried, Felon.
Okay.
She knows your name.
I
Love your
don't know
names.
who you are, so.
She just
I
said it.
just don't
She's
know.
Well,
sees it.
I know all of you. I've been
He
keeping
just-
an eye on all of you.
Mm.
I'm glad for the help. It's always
We're
meant
glad.
to be a protector of the prime material plane against things like this. We've always ended up battling more physical monstrosities, the more immediate dangers. We have to once again fight beings like this. War rose to the
Yeah.
challenge. And not only did you rise to the challenge, you prevailed against the challenge. Representative of Vesh, and banishing away her power from this realm. But for now, I commend you.
Thank you. And Osisa, it's an honor, I'm sorry, to meet you.
Ceremony
Yeah.
for me, Forno Vasrauta. You've all earned. You now have. I cannot bestow the gift of the Slayer's Take here. Unfortunately, my avatar is not quite that powerful, and the ritual meant to summon a more physical manifestation of my power was loath to have anyone attempt it again. Ever find yourselves near Vasselheim? Seek out the take.
We'll do that. Man.
Yep.
Thank you for having our backs.
Thank you for creating just enough of a gap for me to enter. Now, I believe you have a city to go check on and some friends to make sure that they're all right.
Oh,
You watch
that's true.
as her form begins to coalesce back in, and slowly rising as it's doing this, but slowly forming back into the pearl of light. Appears from the top of the chamber. And you four are now, we five, are now left alone.
Let's go. I
Is anyone in need of healing at the moment?
yes.
Okay.
Ari's probably bleeding.
Felon's bleeding a little bit, but he'll be okay.
Ari's not
As
looking amazing.
radiant field of energy that Osisa had around her has faded, you guys all feel really rested and almost like... Okay, because you guys all just hit level 7.
Yay!
For the sake of this, from her radiant blessing, you all have the benefits of a long rest.
Yoo-hoo!
Health, everything, any abilities, all restored.
Oh, but
Yay.
we're level 7.
Level 7.
It doesn't make that.
So, you choose to do it
And-
now if you want, or you can do it later. I honestly have no preference. If you do it now, it's just a
D&D
little more
Beyond.
padding. Yeah.
Finally added the creatures. So Deathwork finally has his own like hit point tracker that I don't have to do by myself.
Did they really? I haven't even noticed.
Yeah,
to be
they
fair,
added
I
one.
don't look at your character sheet enough to know.
Well,
I actually have to look at your character sheet. I mean, really.
I mean,
I don't
really.
have anything special at this level.
I have to check.
The discourse, still the same. Still the same.
I can add a new spell.
Cool. Yeah.
It's always a pain in the ass picking spells.
Oh, but it's so much fun.
It's like the one thing about, like non, what was it? What's the good word for it? Like classes that don't have to pick their spells. Or
I wasn't aware that there was a term for that.
I don't know.
Mm.
My body's like, it's like almost 5 in the morning, and I'm like, no, it's not.
Oh, that's better. Okay. Do-do-do-do. Na 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 na.
Ay, Aramisito. Ay.
Okay. Well. Sure.
And I got better at everything. Yay!
Oh, right! What does that mean? Level 7? I think that means that I have now level 4 spells. Yummy. Let's see. Oh, by the way, now we gotta check on Dante. And,
Yeah, we will.
yeah, first level. Bane. Okay, I got Fabricate. What's that? Wall of Fire. Ooh. That's nice. What does Fabricate?
I have 4th level spells. Yay! Flanders is screaming.
I just got Dissonant Whispers.
Oh, Dissonant Whispers.
Oh, 8 connected 5-foot cubes. That's nice.
I am aware.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, it's
I don't think they're gonna put it on alpha though, so I gotta wait until.
no, this is
Yeah, I'll be
purely
waiting.
Critical Role Twitch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be
so I'll have to
waiting
wait
because
until
I'm gonna
Twitch.
be sleeping.
The last episode. I'm behind. Like.
Yeah, I'm also behind.
You
I need to watch that
not
shit.
Watch the last episode.
Nope.
Oh my god! Watch it before
I got-
Thursday.
I need
Yeah,
to.
we'll
I
do.
got like an hour into it.
Oh man,
I haven't watched it at all.
I can't say nothing.
I'm
Mm.
in like episode 35, so don't ruin it.
I have no real excuse because I started watching because I now have YouTube on my TV and everything with the Fire Stick I bought.
Mm-hmm.
But I started trying to watch, and I couldn't do it because it was late. I had to go to bed, and I was laughing. I was way too invested in that. I was laughing way too fucking hard. Danny derailed that shit in like an instant.
Danny Carr?
Oh god.
Yeah, she plays a polar bear on Honey Heist 3 called
Yeah,
Drew Barrymore. And
we
the
were
first
just
thing-
like,
the first thing out of her mouth is she's got crazy eyes, and you're not entirely sure. Maybe she's on drugs, maybe she's just off drugs. Like hard to tell. Like
yeah,
oh,
and she
no.
wouldn't shut the fuck up at all. And I was like, Jesus Christ.
Well, I think that was just her like starstruck moment, but I really gotta give her credit for playing a character that is literally her.
Gigi, don't die, please.
I couldn't.
Yeah,
stop laughing.
I finished Hova's Honeys right before I took a nap. So
I couldn't
Pretty
stop
good.
laughing at that. I couldn't stop laughing at Laura Bailey doing an elegant French accent.
I loved it.
It was so amazing.
I loved it so much.
I couldn't stop with.
Laura's actions are very good. It's just
Laura's
gonna
very
be,
talented, but I could not get over fucking Mary Elizabeth McGlynn. Lee Bear. Oh my god.
Grizzly bear.
Over it. Bernie! Bernie! Like, oh no. I know people like that.
They're like, can he hear you? And you're like, she's like, I don't know. In my head, he can.
Yeah. Oh my god, that's so sweet. You guys have your own form of communication. Yeah, it's called English. Oh no.
I love
the
this
whole-
spell. It
Just the
says
whole,
creatures
like,
or magic items can be created or transmuted by these spells. You can also use it to create items that ordinarily require a high degree of craftsmanship, such as jewelry, weapons, glass, or armor, unless you have proficiency with the type of artisan's tools used to craft sub-objects. So, smith tools, I can make weapons and armor like up to what is it? Like a 10-foot cube. I can make a full suit of armor out of just metal. I love it.
Could
Nice.
you already do, I feel like you could already do something similar to that though.
Yeah, but limited to 100 GP. This has no GP limit. I can make it like a full plate.
True, you could do full plate. It still won't be an enchanted armor.
No,
But-
obviously not. But I mean, it will take me a few minutes 10 minutes instead of months. That is what it usually takes to create an armor.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop whoop. Pop pop.
Pop, pop.
I love that character.
Oh my god, so good. I need to rewatch Community.
Not the worst idea.
Right?
Okay. Everyone done leveling up?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, there I had such a hard dilemma with what spells to pick, but
It's real tough. for
Bless
me.
you.
I can imagine.
Okay.
But if everyone's done then. So, rejuvenated and feeling a bit stronger now that you've come through this whole situation. The five of you begin to make your way out of and out to the exterior of Gas Shadow. As you make it there, is just a load of just destroyed skeletons and different kinds of corpses in various states of decomposing that just seem to have fallen over and lost any semblance of undead life. You get the feeling that with this shattering of power, the beings in the army of Vesh just kind of fell over and died. Like, they were already dead, but they just kind of fell over and they were done. That was it. There was nothing propping them up in any way, shape, or form. In a few instances, you start making your way down the mountain. Some of these skeletons look like they just kind of crumbled apart. Whatever was keeping them upright and together, no longer there to hold them up. And then as you start getting a little bit closer to the bottom of the mountain, that appear to have either been chopped apart, as you're finding severed bones in different parts of corpses, and a few that just look like they were blown apart via different spells, energy, in a few cases scorch marks or blackened marks from what look like some kind of necromantic blades cutting through them. But you continue to make your way back down to the little village at the base of Gat Shadow, and eventually find Dante and Blaze propped up against a wall, drinking.
Oh.
Well,
Okay, guys, they seem to be fine.
Blaze just kind of looks up and goes, "Oh, look, they lived.
And so did you.
Dante owes me a couple platinum from that." Dante just kind of gets up a little bit, shakes off his robes, and as he's dusting off his robes, he's still holding some kind of bottle of spirits. Just kind of shakes it and finds that it's empty, tosses it, and he's like, "I said they were going to die. I just said they would come out looking pretty, shitty. Fuck you, I guess I do owe you the platinum." So I take it everything went well in there, considering we're all still alive.
Yeah. We lost our mercenary, though. Did you see him
Yeah,
down by here?
It's kind of hard to notice anything with the giant hordes of undead, so no. See him.
well,
If you haven't noticed, we were kind of busy, and you guys kind of look around, and, like, throughout the streets of this little village, there's just corpses everywhere. Like, this was a bloodbath in just the best of ways for those two. Have a couple, like, nicks and cuts and bruises, and they look pretty worn out, but there doesn't appear to be any kind of major injuries. Meanwhile, there's literally a small army of undead just slaughtered through the streets.
I'm impressed.
When I want to kill things, I kill things. It's kind of my
Noted.
specialty.
Well, we were informed the war isn't over.
That always bodes well. Who told you the war wasn't over?
That asshole that we killed. Dying breath and all.
You sure it wasn't him just being an asshole with his dying breath?
Nah.
Assholes who like to use their dying breath for that. Just thought, but
Yeah.
By the way, do you any guys have heard of like vampiress or like such a figure called Lily?
no, I've never heard of one. Vampires aren't really my specialty, and there's a lot of them out there. So I
Yeah,
don't
there was
really
one that got-
learn names. Blaze, you know of one? Blaze just kind of looks around and goes, "What? Oh, me? No, I don't really know about women who suck, unfortunately."
Giggity.
Yeah, well,
I continue to the blushing bride. They have.
I've
I'm
been
sorry.
there, and I really do love that place. I hope it's still standing.
Me too.
I really hope it's still standing. We'll find out later.
By the way, should we go back?
I mean, we stopped hearing fighting noises like an hour ago.
We should probably check on
So,
our side of things.
I mean, yeah. Let's see which side won.
I mean, I'm assuming,
Hoping it was
like I
us.
said, the fighting noises kind of stopped, and that big-ass dome of energy is gone, and he kind of points over in the general direction of Western. That dome of, like, shimmering purple energy that had previously been there, what you had come to understand as the magic disruption field, is in fact gone. Nothing seems to have remained of that. So we can take that as a good sign, but yeah, probably a good idea to go check things out.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Just kind of looks at you guys. You want to walk it? Like, it's a couple hours, but I can I've got just enough left in the tank that I can probably instantly.
We should do that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would be good.
would appreciate that.
Give me about 10 minutes, and he starts. You watch. This is the first time you've ever seen Dante do anything like dualistic, other than the occasional studying of tomes in his tower. Pulls out an ordinary thing of chalk and kind of he enlists Blaze and Forno's help moving some of the bodies out to create a big enough space in this village, but eventually starts drawing a very large circle and carving intricate lines and runes, taking about 5-10 minutes in that range. By the time he finally finishes with the chalk, he stands over it, waves his hand again when you watch as a bit of black energy coalesces into them. As he pushes the energy into the runed circle, flash of gray light, and form a bit of a doorway. It looks like you are able to walk through, having completed the casting of teleportation circle. He just kind of looks at you guys. Jump on in.
Alright,
All right.
she does.
The 5 of you, followed by Blaze and then Dante, as he's the last person through, jump in, going through a bit of the tunnel, different colors waving past you, very reminiscent of the blinding light from when the portal was destroyed, but not quite as bright. You're able to actually make out the colors and the fact that you're falling through this tunnel. Eventually, dropping onto the ground right outside your mansion, having been really the only place he was familiar with, for the most part. Intimately familiar with, let's put it that way. And familiar enough to cast the spell. Kind of right yourselves, stand back up, dust yourselves off from landing on the ground. You look around, and first thing you notice is that the grounds outside of your mansion are destroyed. Overrun, it looks like. The little bit of a...
Sorry, lad.
Well-
I know you care for that so much.
The bit of, it's not quite a curtain wall, but the wall that was around your property and your grounds, as well as the gate, and actually it looks like chunks of the building walls itself look to have been clawed off, and kind of there's rubble strewn throughout the estate itself. A couple different rampant corpses. Most appear to be undead, but there are 2 guardsmen that appear to have fallen. And immediately outside, back in the streets of Western, you find a couple different civilian corpses as well, in addition to soldiers and undead that seem to have been destroyed.
I make a prayer to the old hammers so that their souls are cast back into the forge of souls. I'm very creative with the names, the old hammer. Yeah. Soul forge.
But as you begin to walk through, you make it about another street over, and that's when you start seeing living people, though. First, just a couple. I'm trying to remember where I officially had your guys' mansion. I think it was... Oh, the heck was it? Right here. Sure that was the one that was your building. You kind of make your way a couple streets towards the interior of the city, heading towards the Hall of Reason, the Margrave's Manor, and just kind of the city center. And as you get a couple streets in, you start seeing more and more people. A few civilians, mostly army of Tal'Dorei, that you had trained with and traveled with and brought for this very reason to liberate the city. Most appear pretty battle-hardened, but there. Looks like the army might have fared a bit better than the initial predictions.
Yeah, the training paid off.
Yeah, and as the aftermath of this is starting to settle in a little bit, finding more and more civilians that appear to have been either sheltered or rescued, possibly in the Underwalk like you had been told. It looks like there may have been quite a few that made it down there to the safety, away from the ravages of this undead army. But making your way into the city center, you do eventually see main part of the host of the army. Camped there, currently breaking into different groups set for patrols to make sure that everything is in fact dead. Just doing some regular sweeps, making sure that any trapped or injured civilians are rescued and brought to receive any kind of treatment that they need, as well as starting to tally up the dead and collect anything that needs collecting. You do manage to find outside of the Margrave's mansion, which the Margrave's mansion itself is completely destroyed.
Oh dear.
Looks like it might have been razed to the foundations. There isn't much left of this place at all. What was once a very elegant looking and very well built, it has been completely wiped out. The Hall of Reason similarly was very much attacked and kind of destroyed. Still standing, and it's just more of a really burnt out and not quite decrepit or anything like that, but it's going to need a lot of repair work before it can be used again for the purposes of a government. Similarly, the army barracks nearby was also, being a fairly structurally sound building, managed to survive, was also attacked. Clearly shows the signs of battle. And in fact, the statue in the center of the city, the massive statue of Pallas Western and his onyx horse, has, it looks like, in some point during the battle, was toppled and smashed. So those of you that had previously been to Western to visit, notice that very much a iconic figurehead for the city has been just completely demolished.
Oh, that's a pity.
That suck.
Yeah, I mean,
I didn't expect really any different.
to be honest, I've never seen this scale of destruction ever in my life. And for someone that builds stuff for a living, this is just like the antithesis of what I stand for.
I've seen worse.
And then I go and search for like the people who need healing and like start like doing whatever I can. Like the ones who are like on the most need, I'm just gonna like cast cures. I'm gonna just spend all my slots today on curing, and I'm actually gonna leave one or two for your create food and water, just in case they need it. Yeah, I'm gonna be Salvation Army, Salvation One Army.
Yeah. And the rest of you are going to do something to join him and assist in some way?
Yeah, I'll go like see who needs help. Like,
as the four of you start walking through different areas of this camp, trying to see who needs help the most and doing what you can to help out wherever it's needed, whether it be trying to track something down, just getting food and water for them, healing them, and anything that they might possibly need. You notice the mood in this camp. I mean, it was already in higher spirits because of that they won, and the fact that it doesn't look like the army was completely smashed up against this horde of undead. Pretty well for it all. But the mood seems to climb higher and higher as you guys mingle with the army themselves, making your presence known and trying to assist even more. And particularly as you guys are helping out with one particular squad, Forno, you're casting Cure Wounds on him, and the man just kind of looks up and goes, "Ain't you?
Come again? I'm sorry.
You guys are the Kala Coalition, ain't you?
Oh, yeah, yes.
You're the guys who smashed the portals and..."
Well, I mean, we only did one. You did 5. That's more amazing and impressive.
Yeah, but you killed all the, well, we didn't get all the portals. You guys, no.
Oh, yeah, that one. Of course. Yeah, we did get one. Well, but actually, you saved the whole city. It's just like, it was just a temple for us.
He starts calling out, just trying to get everybody's attention. People nearby start kind of looking over toward you. Let's hear for the Color Coalition over here.
Oh.
Clapping, and everyone it starts out very much like a slow clap, but everyone starts laugh and cheer and
Ari
clapping.
looks
This
so confused.
This is
Thunderous
cute, but it's
applause.
awkward at the same time.
This thunderous applause heralding you guys for me.
I'm gonna cry.
They're basking in this appreciation and this cheer, having successfully defended there, because that is the end of the arc.
We did it!
Good job, guys.
Yay! I'm gonna cry.
Portal on the
Yay.
honor of Osisa, and then found out everything went pretty well.
Ooh, did you roll for those, or was that just story?
I did actually roll for those.
Okay.
And the DCs were actually higher because you guys chose that path instead of the other one.
Oh.
And yet it worked out pretty well. I mean, only about a third of the army was lost.
Oh,
Yeah, not
that's
bad, not bad, not bad.
acceptable losses, I guess. Against
I mean, it was an
Well,
army,
it's
it was
a
an army of,
war
like,
for no.
it was an army of
It's what you
10,000 up against an army of like 75,000.
You cannot
Whoa.
expect.
You guys never
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah, you guys never did actual scouting or anything like that and didn't get accurate numbers. You very much like divested yourselves of the actual attack. So, gonna be.
Okay.
Whoop whoop.
Did my training with them like modify their some
What?
way?
There were some modifiers to it. Yes, I took.
Okay.
I was keeping pretty extensive notes and going to assist in any way, shape, or form.
Cool. All right. Okay, let's identify whatever we have left.
Okay, so expediency. The plate armor is just +1 plate armor.
Okay.
Albeit you have to repair it first, because it's very much just like completely wrecked. Itself is a flame tongue greatsword. It just happens to have a very cool looking black finish on it, with a bit of gold and red inlay. And I apparently did not write down in my notes what the pack of items was. I'll put that guys in the Discord chat once I find where I made a note of it. You guys know what the loot was, because there was plenty of gold and riches and stuff in there as well.
Was a +1 full plate?
It's +1 full plate armor. Damaged,
Ooh.
very much damaged. So you got to make sure to add that because you're gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to repair that, and keep in mind it's enchanted, so normal repairs won't repair the enchantment on it.
Yeah, I know. I have to go full Forno.
Or find someone with enchantment abilities to fix the enchantment after you fix the armor.
The Fire Genasi in no.
He didn't have a whole lot of. I mean, you. Never mind. No, you. But so for the sake of this, there's going to be what I'm calling a kind of a restoration period, as things try to slowly get back to normal. In the wake of all of this, I'll have more details. I'll have a prompt and everything to give you guys for the next session, which I won't be available next week.
It's okay.
Okay.
But it just gives me more time to work on the prompt and everything, prepping you guys.
Yeah.
However, like I said, 3 months. There's going to be 3 months of downtime.
Yay!
Make sure you
Cool.
guys take the time to plan out what your character would be doing in the 3 months. There's plenty of
Yeah.
stuff you guys can do together. Like I said, you'll be learning more about the aftermath of this event as it unfolds, and you guys travel a bit and things like that. Prompt, and I might even put it in the Discord before that. But yeah, and it will say 3 to 4 months, somewhere in that range. Just be wibbly wobbly timing
Cool.
me. But yeah, as the continent and the government try to recover from the utter apocalypse that just happened,
Is that how you spell it?
It's like OS. It's like OSYSA. So somewhere in there, I don't remember. Something like that. Simple spelling for that.
We're talking about Osisa?
Yeah. Might be double S's in the beginning. I don't remember. But I mean, yeah. Travel to Vasselheim. I'm trying to remember how far away
It's
that is.
OSYSA. Looks like.
For the record, travel to Vasselheim is an option. It just takes a bit of time. And it would probably, if you were to do that, it would literally take up the majority of your time. Contract an airship, but you guys don't remember seeing any airships nearby. So.
No. Well,
Yeah.
or down to, after a bit of rest, like
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, when he does teleportation circles, he has to be familiar with the area.
He hasn't gone to Pesselheim.
You don't know. People don't just go continent traveling.
Would have
do.
to ask him.
So, I mean, like I said, plenty to think about, but that's also an option for, in-game instead of downtime. As I continue to flesh out this world, and like I kind of told you guys, now that the arc's over especially, I'm going to do less railroading, because I feel like this arc especially was very much like I put you guys on the path and just led you down it. And I'm trying. I want to get away from that.
We kind of needed it because, I mean...
early on, yeah, you guys were just a chaotic group of chuckle fucks, but now...
Just a clusterfuck.
To be fair, it was my first time really starting to DM, but I think Taylor and Joe can probably attest to, especially from my other game, I've now kind of mastered the idea of not forcing you guys to do anything.
Yes.
And just laying it out in front of you and seeing what happens. So, with that, I'm going to be focusing more on doing that, making sure that there's plenty of stuff for you to find, but less stuff that I feel I have to make you do.
Okay.
For the sake of this, yeah, there will be plenty for you guys to do and look forward to as far as exploring. I'm not going to force anything down your throats for a while, at least. So, as far as anything next, it's up to you guys to find it.
Cool.
With that, I'm done for the night. I got nothing for you.
Alright, cool. I'm gonna go to bed.
Nap time.
It's nap time again.
Alright.
I'm probably going to go try to make my way to Critical Role.